What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aidan, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chicago Bulls started the night with a beautiful presentation and, of course, welcoming the players back to the United Center as we had our first home game of the season. However, we ended the night in absolute disaster as the Cleveland Cavaliers outworked, outplayed, out-hustled, just simply did everything better than the Chicago Bulls in this game. So, look, at the end of the day, we had a very unacceptable performance against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and we're going to be discussing who's at fault, who's to blame. I'm pretty sure you could target everybody to blame in this type of game, but just again looking at where we actually went wrong in this game, because it did start from somewhere. But at the end of the day, if we're going to have any sort of successful season this year, we have to do so much better than what we showed in our last two games. Even against Miami, we have a lot to learn, we have a lot to do if we're going to really be, I guess, a big team in this season. And again, we still have to give this team patience, but again, that's not a good start, especially at home. Before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Bulls and the Cavs game. I know for many people this question will not matter to you, but who was your player of the game? Again, in a performance like this, I don't think anyone will truly care about it, but if you want to have, I guess, a crack at going for the player of the game, like I will at the end of this video, feel free. And also just your overall thoughts and opinions, because it was a disgusting performance. The Bulls lost this game 128-96. Now, it did go wrong from a lot of places, but before I go into the blame game, because I will go into the blame game and I will target out a lot of people that need to be called out, including our coaching staff as well, I want to give full respect to Cleveland. At the end of the day, you have to respect those teams that, one, humble you the way that we got humbled today, but two, play really solid basketball. And even without Darius Garland, who is an all-star level point guard, ladies and gentlemen, Cleveland did a couple things that indicate how good they're going to be in the future. Now, I don't know how they're going to do it in an 82-game season, but one thing they showed in this game was their coaching staff and how they managed the game was a lot better than ours. Notice how almost every single time Cleveland had at least one of Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, or Jared Allen on the floor. At least one of those guys was on the floor at all times. 3 all-star level plays for them, and they are just, again, they had at least one of them on at the same time. The Bulls didn't do that. The Bulls went all bench lineup at one stage, and that's where it really began. So Cleveland coaching staff played, I guess, performed much better than our coaching staff, which for many people does not seem a surprise. And also, they managed the game well when they got that 20-point lead. Again, we had a terrible mistake from our coaching staff, and that started the Cleveland Cavaliers run. But they managed the game so well, and that's something that a good team has to do, because you've seen it in the past. I'm sure it's happened to the Bulls a couple times as well, when other teams get to 17, 18, 20, 25-point leads, and because they don't have the quality, or they don't have the, I guess, execution factors, they're just not good enough as a team, you start to see other teams come back and win those games. It's going to happen throughout the season. It's going to happen for the Bulls. It's going to happen against the Bulls. It happens to everybody at least once throughout the season. It is what it is. But Cleveland managed the game perfectly, in my opinion, and they have every right to walk away with the win. They were overall the better team in today's game, which is frustrating because this is a home opener. This is the game where, once again, you're meant to get your crowd excited, energetic. You're meant to give them something to cheer about. There are a couple of games now that really have pissed me off with the Chicago Bulls. Last year in the playoffs, we had 2 games at home and we got blown out in both of them. And then obviously this game in the home opener against Cleveland, when you want to give them something to cheer about, you get blown out again. I don't know what it is about the Bulls in the United Center, but if you can't play at home, you've got a big problem, because that's where half your games are coming from. So we've got to perform better than this. And I think everybody can really understand that. From the players to the coach, we have to be better than this. This is not our level. Even last year when we were at our worst, this was not our level. But we have to do better. So again, I'm hoping that the Bulls can find a way to pick things up, because if this is an indication of how the season is going, it's not going to look good for us. So we've got to be better than this. But I've given my respect to Cleveland. I've given them the positives and the respect that they deserve as the winners of this game. Now let's look at the blame game, because for the Chicago Bulls side of things, we've got a lot of people to blame. I'm going to start off with the coaching staff. Again, I understand why we went for an all-bench lineup, but you sometimes have to adjust to how the game is played. You can't have a bench lineup of Goran Dragic, Kobe White, Alex Caruso, Derrick Jones Jr. and Andre Drummond on the floor together when you have Cleveland's lineup of Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley together alongside of their bench. What did you expect was going to happen? That's an extremely poor decision from Billy Donovan. I think every single person from social media to my friends, obviously to me as well watching it, knew that was going to happen. Knew that run, they were going to make that run. You got two all-star level players playing against a bench lineup that, again, may have been good, but they're not starters, and there's a reason that they're not starters as well. So no, I'm not happy with Billy Donovan's coaching today. And look, I want Billy Donovan to do well. I really do. But there are a lot of people that already have so much doubts on Billy Donovan. That is not going to help his case. That is a really shocking decision that he made. You can understand why he made it, because again, we're so stagnant. We have no ball movement. You bring on the bench who has been doing very well at that. But there are some times you have to make adjustments during the game. At all times in this game, you needed to have at least one of Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, or Nikola Vucevic in the game, just like how Cleveland had at least Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen, or Evan Mobley in the game. One of those guys were always in the game for Cleveland. And for the Bulls, you had to do something similar. You can't go all bench lineup and expect to beat some starters, especially good quality starters as well. That's not their level. You have to know your role, ladies and gentlemen. And again, I thought that was a really bad choice, and we left them out for so long. It was minutes and minutes before we saw any sort of, I think it was Vucevic that came in, but we got to be better than that. That's not good coaching, and Billy Donovan has to take some responsibility. And also, he did have a press conference after the game, which I got a little bit of a glimpse of. I didn't watch the whole thing, but he was talking about how, again, he explained why he got to that bench unit, and he's very disappointed with the bench. I'm disappointed with the decision of playing everybody on the bench. Again, maybe the bench didn't perform well. No one performed well. The bench has to improve. The starters have to improve. But if you're just going to target out the bench, I think you're doing a discredit to the starters. The starters were awful in this game as well. Again, Zach LaVine had a great game. That's the only positive I could take away from this type of game. Zach LaVine actually played really well. And I give full credit to Zach LaVine for, on his return game, to actually do well, at least offensively, because defensively everybody sucked, including Zach LaVine. But I think everybody has to be targeted in this game. But if you're talking about stagnation, you're talking about lack of ball movement, you're talking about players not moving, then the coaching staff needs to make this an emphasis. That's something else I want to talk about in relation to the coaching staff as well. I'll get to the player side of things as well, because obviously the fact that they're not moving, they have to take responsibility, because they're the ones that are supposed to be putting in the effort. You can't expect the coach to just tell you to do something and then for you to not do it. That's not the coach's fault from time to time. The players have to play and take responsibility. But the coaching staff, you're talking about lack of ball movement, you're talking about stagnation, you're talking about how Zach and DeMar play. Do something about it, because it's been over a year and it's so inconsistent to the point where people don't even see that good qualities that we have on offense, which I believe that we have and we have seen in the preseason. So you've got to do something about it. You've got to make it an emphasis, and you got to switch the lineups to make sure that we can actually see it. The coaching staff has to be better. But now let's go to the players. Kevin Love had 5 threes. I think it was 5 from 6 from the 3-point line. And half of them was him taking his own shot, making his own shot. How is Kevin Love, who to be fair is a good player, I'm not saying Kevin Love is a bad player, but how is Kevin Love making his own shots for the Cleveland Cavaliers? How bad does our defense have to be where Kevin Love is dribbling from half court and shooting his own shots, and no one is guarding him a single bit in this game? After the third one, you have to make him a priority. But we just didn't do it. We did not do it. And again, our whole defensive structure was extremely poor. So many cuts to the paint. I want to see, if you guys have the stat, let me know how much points in the paint we had compared to the Cavs, because I'm sure the Cavs absolutely crumbled us in that area. But when you're seeing Kevin Love dribble into his own shot, like 3 out of 4 of those threes, that's just unacceptable performances from the Chicago Bulls. And defensively, we were so bad in this game. Talk about our offense all you like. Our offense was bad. Our offense was stagnant. Again, DeMar had 13 points. Vucevic only had 16 points. Zach LaVine had 23 points. That's our big three. That's not good enough, in my opinion. And then when you go to the bench, again, just looking at all the stats, no one played well outside of Zach LaVine, in my opinion, on the offensive end and defensively as well. No one stepped up to the plate. So, very disappointing performance overall. But our defense, my goodness, that's the worst I've seen our defense all year, including preseason. That was horrifically bad. And look, I'm not going to go and, I guess, say let's trade everybody just yet. I'm not going to go out and say that things, I guess, we have to make drastic changes, because it's too early in the season for me to really believe that. Of course, an initial reaction, my initial thoughts could be trade this guy, trade this guy, trade this guy, get people in. I want to see how we react to this. I've always said after blowouts, you have to have a strong reaction. Our next game is against the Boston Celtics, who are in the NBA Finals and have had a great start to their NBA season. That is a game that no one expects us to win. It's at home, which is obviously that's probably a concern at this point, but it's at home. I want to see a reaction. If I don't see a reaction against that Boston game, if I don't see players wanting to play for each other, fighting for each other, helping for each other, movement, if I don't see good coaching, then with no reaction, I'm sorry. I don't think, even after 3-4 games, I still think changes have to be made. And I guess I'll have to call them out. We'll have to wait and see how that Boston game goes. I want a reaction. Win or lose, I want a reaction. I want a better performance than this. I want the Bulls to just, first of all, crack over 100, but I want to see us actually play as a team, man. It's so frustrating. And yes, I know many people will also say Lonzo Ball has yet to return, but if we're relying all of our success on one guy, this team is not built to really go anywhere, not even in the playoffs. It's not built to go anywhere. So again, I want to see that reaction. I'm not going to be calling out players. I'm not going to be calling out, I guess, everybody to get traded, or we don't need him on this team, we don't need him on that team. I don't care about that right now. I want to see a reaction. The must improve for me is the whole team. You don't get a performance like that and everybody, I guess one person gets a pass or this person gets a pass. Everybody sucked. Everybody has to be accountable for that. My player of the game will obviously be Zach LaVine on his return. Again, offensively, I thought he was fine. He was good. Defensively, he sucked just like everybody else. I'm calling it how it is. Defensively, Zach LaVine was not good, but no one else was good as well. So it's not fair to just target Zach LaVine's defense. Everybody's defense sucked in this game, and we'll see how we go against Boston. We have to be better. Our record is 1-2, negative record. So early in the season, I don't really, again, I care more about the performance than the actual loss itself. How badly we played means more to me than, I guess, the loss itself. If we lost by 1 point, I probably wouldn't be here complaining and talking about how bad this Bulls team was. But we got blown out, and it wasn't even close. It started from a bad coaching decision, but everybody else followed suit. The players have to take responsibility as well. Next game is against Boston, as I mentioned before. We'll see how we go against Boston. But yeah, I'm ending this video here. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Again, I feel sorry for everybody that actually watched this game in its entirety. If I was a casual Bulls fan, put it this way, if I didn't have a YouTube channel, if I didn't love this team so much, I would not have sat through this game. There was years and years ago when I was watching the Chicago Bulls, when we really, really sucked. If we were getting beaten this badly, I would not finish this game. So I can understand the people that don't finish these types of games, don't want to watch these types of games. I completely understand it. And I feel sorry for everybody that actually watched this game in entirety and had to sit through that absolutely horrific performance, especially in the home opener when you're supposed to have the crowd on their feet. The crowd left early. Not good enough from the Bulls. Have a wonderful and safe day. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.